Who is the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC? It was interesting to me that after UFC 302 at the post-fight press conference, Dana White was asked about Islam Makhachev surpassing Jon Jones as the #1 pound-for-pound fighter. That question led into Dana White going into this rant about how Jon Jones is the greatest fighter of all time and that no one will ever surpass Jon Jones while he's fighting. And I thought that was pretty interesting because Islam Makhachev, at the time that Dana was saying those words and right now, is the current pound for pound #1 UFC fighter. He is the pound for pound #1 ranked fighter. Dana White says if anybody votes for Islam to be the #1 fighter over Jon Jones, then they don't deserve their jobs anymore. That's insane to me because Islam is the #1 pound for pound fighter. He is #1. But we all know Dana White picks and chooses when he wants to praise Jon Jones and when he wants to call Jon Jones scared to fight Francis Ngannou. You know, he chooses when he wants to praise or say people are scared to fight for his promotion. The same person, Jon Jones, who he was saying was scared to fight Francis, he's now claiming Jon Jones is the best fighter in the world, and if you put him in a room with anybody, Jon Jones is the one to walk out. But you recently, not that long ago, Dana, you said that he was scared to fight Francis. And then you said Francis was scared to fight tough opponents. Makhachev says in response to Dana White's statements about Jon Jones being the #1 pound for pound fighter as long as he's still fighting, he says, I don't know, maybe it's his opinion. I think I saved this card today because all of the fights were boring and all arena almost asleep. I personally would say that I didn't think all the fights were boring. I definitely thought Paulo Costa and his opponent were very boring and I almost fell asleep for the main event. But I thought a lot of the other fights, like as I mentioned in the previous video, Mickey Gall versus Basil Hafez was very exciting. There were some good fights on there that I liked. I liked Randy Brown versus Eliseo Dos Santos. I thought that was a great fight. There were some good fights to me, but I guess if you don't like grappling, then all the fights were bad. I think it's delusional for Dana White to kind of talk down on Islam, who's right now in his prime, alright? He just defended the belt for the 3rd time, matching the record for most title defenses at lightweight. And instead of like a smart promoter and building up your current champion who's in the prime, you're building up the guy who is in the latter end of his career and is openly saying he's most likely going to retire after his next fight. What benefit do you get in saying that Jon Jones is a better fighter overall than Islam Makhachev? You gain nothing from that. You're just shitting on your current product, as he does time and time again. Francis Ngannou is the champion, and he says Jon Jones is afraid to fight Francis. Francis leaves because they don't want to pay adequate, or Francis leaves because they don't want to give fighters health insurance, and he says Francis doesn't want to fight tough opponents. This is just typical Dana White. He doesn't really stand on anything, definitely not business. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it thus far, please like, share, comment, subscribe, do all that jazz. Thank you so much.